Self-expression is such a gift. It's an art. You might be somebody who's coming from a place where this was not nurtured, and as a matter of fact, it was looked down upon, or any time that you had an opportunity to express yourself, it wasn't received well, and ultimately it may have been rejected. I think the best way to express yourself in a sustainable way, in a way that is going to be healthy for you long term, the best thing you could do is be authentic. The best thing that you could do is be honest with yourself and take moments to pause and reflect, like I've spoken about on so many different occasions. What I'm always considering is the fact that I'm going to be changing, I'm going to be evolving, I'm going to be progressing in my practice, and the things that I'm interested will likely shift on some level. The people that I'm interacting will likely reflect this and shift with me. So, considering this is really essential for me because I know how I love to move, and I know that I'm passionate, or I find joy and enjoyment in progressing in my own practice, progressing in my own creativity and my own relationship to my life, to the world around me, and the world within me as well. So I can be expressing myself in one way, and in a month's time or 2 weeks' time, I might be experiencing a completely different paradigm, a completely different way of thinking, being, and I feel firm in myself and my foundation and my core beliefs, although I still have so much room for growth. I'm able to really witness the ways in which I am changing the way that I'm thinking. If I don't factor this in, I end up suffering because I'm identifying so much, or I'm holding on so much to one way of being, and ultimately it's not healthy and it's not resonating with who I am. Now, this is if I'm attached to what people think. When you're attached to what people think of you, it is likely you're not going to be authentic with yourself. It is likely that you're going to subconsciously or consciously ignore who you are on a creative level, right? Like what your self-expression might look like. It's really challenging to overcome the programming that your self-expression is not valuable, that it is an issue, that you just simply saying anything is problematic. So if you have that heart and that mind that wishes to speak, that wishes to share authentically, not this filtered version that does not necessarily encompass the way you wish to speak your heart and your truth. That from that position of being frowned upon and not being celebrated. This is why I'm always going where I'm celebrated. If I perceive that my authenticity, who I truly am, is not being celebrated or is being undermined on some level, then naturally I shift out of that experience and I move out of that experience, not by force, but by default, because I take the time for myself to assess where I'm at, to assess where I'm headed, why I'm headed in that direction. And you can see that on many different levels. Like, you could be thinking career-wise, you could be thinking energetically, you could be thinking on a spiritual level, you could be thinking on a relational level, right? On a romantic level. This is why I enjoy my life so much, because there's so much depth to the experience if you could start to look at it that way. This is the essence of expansion, right? As opposed to the contraction that I was speaking about in my last video, which is, it serves its purpose. But once we're able to break out of these boxes that we place ourselves, or once we're able to stop suffocating ourselves really from holding on so tightly, we're going to have to replace that behavior, which is learned behavior, just like, being silent or practicing listening to those who silence you on some level. This is a learned behavior. Once you're able to break out of that, you must replace the old behavior with the new behavior. That goes with anything. Because if you don't, the likelihood that this other aspect of you that is timid or is afraid to speak or is feeling rejected, or this version of you that is going in the downward spiral with no foreseeable end, that version of you that doesn't feel loved even when there are people around you that love you, it's more likely that that version is going to grab a hold of you, right? So, essential, replacing old habits with new habits. And ideally, it's things that bring you joy, that elicit feeling responses that allow you to solidify this new way of being and maintain that state of being, to sustain that state of being. With the understanding that even from this better position, you are going to be changing. You are going to be shifting in all these different areas of your life. And it is up to you to utilize your imagination to be as creative as possible, to open your mind to the possibilities. Because if somebody is holding you back, if somebody is, well, nobody could hold you back but yourself, but if somebody is kind of replaying in your mind that your voice is not valuable, that it's not worthy, and you're allowing that to hold you in a position that you cannot be in, you will not be in. Your growth is inevitable. Your expansion is inevitable. Your joy fulfillment is inevitable. That's why you're here, because your joy fulfillment is inevitable. And it's naturally occurring. That's why it's inevitable. You have that heart, you have that soul, you have that way, you have that mind. You don't have to go to the past and allow the past experiences of your childhood, or even just like anything within the past couple years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, so as to stay there. But you have to be aware on how to navigate. You're navigating, learning how to navigate, going in the past as to be able to be at peace with the past so that you can exist at peace in your present. Making peace or feeling peaceful about your past, your present, your future is such a transformative practice, which often requires some level of forgiveness, which often requires some level of letting go.
36 grams of protein with plenty of room.
So when you do go to the past, as you watch this video, and I inspire you to do so,
nutrient rich.
This is what I like to call soul searching. And you assess, well, was I not allowed to speak the way that I truly felt authentically in my heart? Was I in that position? Or were there any positions that I found myself in the past that felt out of my control? Because perhaps I was a child, or perhaps whatever the case may be. And how are those experiences affecting me now? And how can I utilize those awarenesses to my advantage now? It's very likely it can take some time to process what you've experienced if it was really negative or if it really hurt you. And when those things don't get processed, of course, it's going to be a challenge to even consider, in this example, expressing yourself authentically, right? And if you take a look at my other videos, I provide so many different ways that you can process your past experiences in a way that's healthy, in a way that's creative, in a way that is not as mentally, emotionally, physically draining.
One more thing I would like to add is that
Sustainable
when you eat,
self-expression.
the more you chew your food,
Considering how you can express
the more
yourself
you're
more
extracting nutrients.
sustainably.
So chew
In a way that is
You're
not
supposed
in
to chew
direct
it
conflict
until it
with
becomes
what
like
you are
a watery
envisioning for
substance in your
yourself.
mouth.
Becoming aware of
Yeah. Do that.
the future, the past, relating to all of these harmoniously in the present moment. I am currently next to this beautiful river, and I'll show it to you guys. It's magnificent. I don't know. Okay, there it is. I love bridges. There's people like fishing here. It's just a really peaceful spot. So that is all, my friends.